Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is getting rough out there, especially if you are a console gamer looking to pick up new hardware in 2025 and beyond. And there's a big reason that if you are eyeing a Nintendo Switch 2 and waiting to get into Nintendo's ecosystem, that you might want to now consider picking up this console sooner rather than later, in light of some brand new price adjustments that Microsoft, not Nintendo, just announced here in the US. However, we have seen Nintendo adjust the entire price lineup of the Switch family of systems minus the Switch 2, and there are some interesting comments up to this point in time that we've known about on Nintendo's stance, with them officially not considering tariffs in the pricing of the $450 console we have today, that I think when you look in the gaming environment right now and you see Sony adjusting their prices, Microsoft adjusting theirs, Nintendo may only stick to this $449 and $500 bundle through the holiday season, in my personal opinion. So we're going to get on the same page with everything that's been changed and discuss where things might go from here. Before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. And we're going to first kick this off with the big headline that's been making the rounds, which is what Microsoft just announced in terms of new pricing on their Xbox Series consoles here in the US, following a previous price increase, mind you. So we've already seen prices go up once here in the US, and I believe globally. Now, specifically in the US, they are going up even higher. So you have here, Microsoft is raising Xbox console prices in the US again, 5 months after its last price increase. A 2 terabyte Xbox Series X now costs more than a PS5 Pro. And you have here, the company announced back in May that it was increasing the prices of its consoles globally, including increasing the price of the Xbox Series X and S consoles in the US by $180 respectively. Now it's announced that it's raising the prices even further, but only in the United States this time due to changes in the macroeconomic environment. According to a newly updated support page, the price increase will take effect from October 3rd. Both the 512 gigabyte and 1 terabyte models of the Xbox Series S will see a $20 increase on top of the $80 increases they received in May, while the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series X Digital will see their prices raised a further $50. The biggest increase is for the Xbox Series X 2 terabyte Galaxy Black Edition, which will get a $70 increase on top of its previous $130 increase. The console, which launched at $599, now costs $799, and it's more expensive than a PS5 Pro, which also comes with 2 terabytes of storage. So here's your full lineup of changes for Xbox. Xbox Series S 512 gigabyte is now $399, and it was $379. The launch price, of course, sitting at a nice $299. Who would have known that that was such a steal when it came out? Xbox Series S 1 terabyte is now $449 as opposed to its $429 that was the previous price increase, and the launch price sat at $349. The digital Series X is $599 now. It was $549 and originally $449. The Xbox Series X is $649, was 1 terabyte, keep in mind, was $599, and the launch price was $499. When I picked up my console, I got it at a $500 price point. Did not realize that it would appreciate in value more than Microsoft stock performance if you had their stocks the last few years. Kind of crazy. Xbox Series X 2 terabyte Galaxy Black is now $799, was $729. The launch price was $599. So these are significant price increases, and this round affecting the US specifically. Microsoft is in a different scenario, however, than Nintendo with their manufacturing, because just about all of it does take place in China, and China's tariff agreement is not as good as Vietnam's, and Vietnam is really where Nintendo manufactures most of their things, but it's still a higher percentage than what we saw before. And we have some official comments from Nintendo that suggest that tariffs were never incorporated into the $449 price point for the Switch 2. So the question now becomes is how long do these companies hold out? Because then next you look at a company like Sony, and effective on August 21st, we got the announcement of, similar to many global businesses, we continue to navigate a challenging economic environment. As a result, we've made the difficult decision to increase the recommended retail price for PlayStation 5 consoles in the US starting on August 21st. And we had them go to the PlayStation 5 base console to $549 as opposed to its $500 retail it launched at. The digital edition going up to $499, and the Pro going up to $749, an additional additional $50 increase from its $700 original retail. And if you're a physical gamer, you still got to pick up an $80 disc drive to throw on that thing. So Sony's done this, Microsoft has done this, even Nintendo with their Switch 1 family of systems, because this is not their flagship hardware anymore. And you had back on Friday, August 1st, 2025, Nintendo Switch console and accessory prices are going up in the US, and you have the price increase for the Switch 1s are already in effect at Target, and you did have the increased prices as follows. The Switch OLED went to $399, the non-OLED went from $300 to $339, and the Switch Lite went from $200 to $229. So we've already seen Nintendo adjust prices of their console hardware. It is just not for their brand new flagship system that they are very much wanting to get the masses to adopt right now. So they are in customer acquisition phase for Switch 2. They do not want to do anything to deter brand new users from going out and picking up this console. And I do think that through the rest of the holiday season, we will likely see Nintendo mirror the existing pricing that they have today, which is $449 for the base Switch 2 console and $499 for the bundle edition with a game packed in. We are seeing that game switch from Mario Kart World to Pokemon Legends ZA when Pokemon Legends ZA comes out, and I'm sure there's going to be a transition phase where you can still find the Mario Kart World bundle on store shelves and stuff until they sell through that stock. But going forward, they will be taking away Mario Kart World bundle, going to the Pokemon Legends ZA. Well, then you kind of have the interesting comments of Nintendo of America's president, Doug Bowser, that you have all the way back in April, where it says Nintendo of America president says tariffs not factored into Switch 2 price, but the tariff is something we are going to have to address. And Doug Bowser's comments specifically were that they were not factored into that $449 price point. And listen, if I'm a betting man, I think Nintendo's not going to want to do a drastic price increase, but what I absolutely could see them doing in this current environment we're in, and keep in mind, it's a little bit different. Nintendo can supply our consoles from Vietnam to the US, which is a better situation than what Microsoft is in with all their manufacturing taking place in China. But you do have Nintendo, I think, personally, if I just had to make a prediction, will probably take away the bundle pack-in game option, and or they'll keep it, but it'll go up $50. But I could see them kind of just quietly removing that bundle option, making that like the launch window period promotion, if you will. And then they're going to potentially sell us that base console, no game packed in, at a $499 price point, since that's one of the SKUs out of the two that you can pick up for the Switch 2 family of systems right now. I feel like that $499 price point's kind of already in some consumers' head, and Nintendo may actually decide that that's a comfortable price point to land, factoring in the tariffs here in the US. And if I was a betting man, they will definitely not adjust prices through the holiday season, because they want to really have a strong first holiday season for this console hardware launch. But something like January, February next year, I would not be surprised if we are sitting here making a video going over a news blog post from Nintendo that does announce a Switch 2 price increase on the base hardware from $449 to $499. Hopefully we avoid the $450 plus. I think with Nintendo's actual percentage, which is basically, from my understanding, a 10% increase on the tariff that used to be on Vietnam compared to what it is now. They probably are almost breaking even on the hardware, or maybe just losing a little bit at that $449. With the higher tariff, they may be losing a little bit of money right now, and they would probably just bring it up that $50 to come closer to breaking even or making a slight profit on the hardware, which Nintendo historically likes to do through their entire console generations. While we've seen Microsoft and Sony kind of, take a loss on hardware for a while, Microsoft's backing off that. Obviously, they're not willing to take a loss on the Xbox Series consoles, and part of that is just due to the lack of momentum around them selling good enough. I mean, they are very much losing ground within the gaming industry. It's interesting, they're still ramping up a next generation console. They've confirmed that, but they are absolutely losing this hardware battle to PlayStation 5, and to the point where the console gaming as a whole is actually in a downward trend, because Microsoft is not even contributing very much to their portion of the pie that they used to, and PlayStation isn't necessarily seeing that growth from Microsoft either. Nintendo's still holding strong with their sales and the momentum that they've had with the Switch and into the Switch 2, but there is a price point at which consumers will just look at this landscape of gaming right now and start to look at not only the hardware prices, but also, like we've talked about recently, some of these game prices. You're going to buy a Switch 2. Now it's $500. There's no bundle pack in game potentially. And then you're staring at Mario Kart World costing $80 full retail on the console. You want to pick up Galaxy 1 and 2, Blast from the Past, easy ports that were upscaled by Nintendo, and you want to replay those, $70 there. You want to get into Pokemon Legends ZA and get all of the content, $70 for the base game. You already know there's $30 DLC in the pipeline, so plan on spending $100 on that piece of software if you want to get everything that it has to offer. You get the idea with this. There is actually a price point at which people are looking at everything going up, and gaming, while it is a very fun hobby for people, it is, if you're choosing between buying your groceries for the week or buying the next game you want to play through, you're probably going to see a lot more of these free to play games and ones that you can get into with minimal to no money and maybe purchase skins and upgrade packs here and there. That's probably where a certain percentage of the broader general casual marketplace will fall. And this is just going to be an interesting situation to see how we ultimately come out of it. But all of that said, if you're somebody who's kind of on the fence right now on picking up a Switch 2, my personal opinion is I would do it sooner rather than later. I do not think that past the first holiday season that Nintendo sells this thing on the market, that they would be, refraining any longer from doing one of these price adjustments for the Switch 2 hardware, especially whenever now their competition, Sony and Microsoft, have both done it recently. And it is kind of just, unfortunately, an industry norm right now where every major hardware manufacturer is looking at doing these price adjustments. So let me know in the comments down below your take on all of this. Are you looking to pick up a Switch 2 sometime between now and the holiday season? And does this potentially steer you in the direction of getting it sooner rather than later? Are you somebody who's already secured your Switch 2 and you're very happy you did so in light of seeing all these price adjustments? Do you think that Nintendo will indeed adjust the price of the Switch 2 from the $449 up to something like $499 or higher? Or do you think that they really do maintain that same price point for the foreseeable future in this generation? And at what point for you personally does console hardware price and game prices become too much? And what kind of price point would stop you from jumping into, say, the next generation Sony and Microsoft console? Because $700-800 doesn't seem out of the question for a base PS6 or whatever Xbox calls their next piece of hardware. So make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn your notification bell. And with that, I've been Sunbro, you've been Nation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.